All right, so I'm going to show this technique. This uses, like you said, like we said, the straight trimmer, and it is going to use the decorative trimmer. And because I picked out paper that has a pattern, this is from the Welcome Baby line. I want to make sure my geese are going up and down and not sideways on it. And I would like my wave to be on the top and bottom. I could always turn it if it works that it ends up, my geese are sideways. I can always turn it. And again, you can use this technique to do with the waves on the side as well. So it's really how you want to look at your page. But if you want it where the wave is on the top and the bottom, you want to make sure your geese are this way. So the first thing you want to do is cut off 1 inch on the side of your paper. It is going to be on the side of your paper with your geese going up and down. So if you have a pattern paper where you need to keep it one way, you want to make sure your geese are standing tall, top to bottom, and take a 1 inch off that side of the geese. So I'm calling it the geese. So you make sure your pattern 1 inch is off the side of the geese, not across the top, 1 inch off the side. Okay. Then you're going to turn your paper just one time. So turn it so your geese are now sideways, whatever pattern paper you're using sideways, and you're going to cut off. I did this wrong. Yes. Now you're going to cut off less. my mind just went blank. You were going to cut off 3/4 of an inch this way. So we cut, I got to look at my geese straight, and I know my screen is upside down. Okay. So I cut off 1 inch off the side. I'm going to turn it. So now I'm cutting the top of the geese. So they're going to come in my platform this way. And I'm going to cut off, I'm going to cut off 1.5 inches. So off the top of the geese, I'm just making sure I did this correctly. Yes. The top of the geese, I'm going to cut off 1.5 inch. Okay. So my paper is going to end up being 11 by 10.5. So I cut off 10.5 across the top. I'll flip it over. I cut off 10.5 inches or 1.5 inches across the top, and I cut off 1 inch on the side. I'm going to put my trimmer away, and I'm going to pull out my decorative trimmer. My decorative trimmer, I want to use, there's 2 waves on here. There is the soft wave that just kind of gently glides. And then you have your rockin' and rollin' wave, which is what I always call it. We're going to be using that rock and roll wave on this one. So I'm going to turn my geese, or your paper. Your paper is going up and down right now. See how my geese are standing tall. I'm going to turn them so they're on their side. I'm going to put it into the trimmer, and when you open your trimmer, you see that there is that rockin' and rollin' wave. There's a groove into the base of the trimmer. When I put my paper in, I want to make sure I go 1.25 inch past that groove. So when I look, if my corner of my paper is in the groove right at that tip right here, that's right on the edge of the groove. I want to move my paper over 1.25 inches beyond that. So I'm putting my paper in, the corner of it's on that groove line. I'm moving it up 1.25 inches. When it's in your trimmer, your paper is actually going to be, it's 1.25 inches past that rockin' and rollin' line. But when on the edge, oops, I'm getting my camera, on the edge, it's going to be 3.25 inches, it says. There's a ruler there, and it says the edge of your paper is at 3.25 inches. Don't worry about the inch mark. Just know that's where you want the corner and the edge of your paper line. It's about a 1.5 inch line past that rockin' and rollin' wave. And then you're going to just cut your paper using that rock and roll blade, okay? You're gonna lift it up. You're gonna take that out. Oops, I didn't get the end. There we go. We're gonna take that out. See how that perfectly would fit together? Let me move this piece of my sample. And see how this would perfectly fit together? That's beautiful. But what I'm going to be doing is flipping this over to fit together, and you can see those don't line up when you flip it over. So now what you want to do is you want to flip your geese. We're flipping our geese. And I want to do that rockin' and rollin' wave on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is flip my paper over so the other side of your paper is showing. You're going to put it into the same 3.25 inch line, which is 1.25 inch past that rocking and rolling line. And before you cut, if you notice, you take your paper back to the geese side or back to your top side, and if you put it down, you would notice that when I cut, now my geese are going to fit, that yellow side of the paper is going to fit perfectly against the white side of the paper. So I'm going to use that rockin' and rollin' line. Remember, your piece of paper should be at 1.25 inch past that, past the line where it's going to cut, which falls on the 3.25 inch line on the trimmer. We're going to cut that and take out all my pieces. And now they're all going to fall into place perfectly. So if I want my geese, let's get my background paper. And here's my background, that nice seafoam. That nice seafoam color paper. I'm going to flip my white paper. I'm going to use the geese in the middle because I really want to show them. But I notice, oh, that's the line that doesn't fit together. So this must go on the bottom. See how perfectly that fits together now? And then if I flip this one over, whoops, to the white side, that should perfectly fit together. And doesn't that make the coolest page? And then I'm just going to tape it down.
I think that to work, could you show how you flipped it to get the other side, the second side?
Oh, yes. Let me quick tape this and I'll do another one. I have a whole bunch of pieces of paper here to show it because I knew it's a little difficult to understand. Let me just move this one over. I'm going to grab a piece of paper. Just to prep it, I'm going to cut off 1 inch on one side.
Yeah.
Turn it once and cut off 1.5 inches. And then you're going to get your rocking and rolling. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm putting it into my tray at 1.25 inch past. I cut that rock and roll wave, right? So I pull that out.
I'm not seeing anything.
The black. Oh.
It's black. Nothing else.
Yep, my battery's low. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Is it back? There we go. Okay, thank you. So I cut that one piece off. That would look like this, right? See how I cut that off? I'm gonna take this big piece of paper and flip it over to the opposite side and cut the opposite side. So my wavy side is over here that I just cut off. I'm cutting the side across from it by flipping the paper over from what I cut before. I don't want to cut on the blue side now. I want to cut on the back. And I'm going to move it to 1 1/4 inch again. And that should line up perfectly. So now the blue side of the paper will match up with the back of the paper. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna cut that. And then when you put it down, you would have your blue, your white, and the white.
All right.
And then you just have to really tape it onto your page. I made it so, and the dimensions I cut really left about a 1/2 inch all the way around your decorative paper. So you show the solid cardstock on the outside. So when you're taping it, you can tape those the outside pieces, the thinner pieces that we cut off, down at about a 1/2 inch from each edge. So you see there's a 1/2 inch around each edge of that. And then you can just piece the color in the middle. Oh, flip it over. And you're just going to make sure that it's about a 1/4 inch from each side of the waves and put it down. So for this one, I'm just going to grab a piece of green paper. Oh, I don't have green paper. Green. Again, this one's going to be go on the page like so. So again, you want to tape down the 2 outside pieces first. It just makes it easier to eyeball or measure from the outside edge, which is straight. It's easier to eyeball. What's that? So I put that down so that I have a 1/2 inch all the way around. It just makes it easier to see if it's somewhat straight. And I do that on the other side. And then I can kind of gauge that it's about a 1/4 inch. The middle piece is about a 1/4 inch from each of the 2 edge pieces. So if I put this about a 1/2 inch. So, and then this middle piece, you're going to tape and leave a 1/4 inch in between each of the waves so that that green background paper actually shows in there, and that gives it that solid line in between your waves. Pretty cool.